Hey guys, welcome back to this series of the Matplotlib tutorial. If you are new, then welcome to the series of this Matplotlib tutorial, which is a part of Python. It is actually a library that we are working on right now. In the previous tutorial, we worked on understanding Matplotlib and how we can use it to represent data for our projects, to analyze them, to work with them. The different types of graphs that we have interesting graphs like line chart, bar chart, pie chart. And we are also going to save a plot in a Matplotlib. That will be later after understanding how to create or how to use these charts. And then we are going to work on the project, that is to create a dashboard in Python. Today in this tutorial, we are going to focus on line chart, which looks something like this. Like if you give data, it's going to represent the data in the form of lines, which is nothing but a line chart, right? So first, let us understand how to create a Matplotlib linear line. Like, just imagine when you are studying during your schooling or when you study graphs, what do? In order to plot a graph, you used to take some set of points and you used to plot them first, like you used to mark them. And then you have to connect all those lines, right? This is what exactly we're going to do here in line chart. We plot the points. You're not going to plot them manually, no. You will give the data to the Python, that Matplotlib. There's a library which will take care of it, which is pyplot. You just have to give it to it so that it can work on it. And it will just plot it on the graph. And you're just going to see the graph. Like we did in our previous tutorial. If you observe, we actually imported pyplot as PLT and we gave X data and Y data. And to show it, we just gave plt.show, right? And if you run this one, you are going to see a line chart. That's it. It's a magic. See? But this is not just one thing. We have a graph needs many things. Like it needs different colors, different ways of representation. Especially it needs labels. Like what is this x-axis data and what is this y-axis data and what exactly the graph is. We have to represent every single thing in detail when you are showing data using graphs, right? So that user or everyone, whoever seeing your project data must understand what's going on there, right? Like if you see here without any data, you're just seeing a single plain line. Do you understand what kind of data it is? You don't know, right? So we have to add labels. We have to show the graphs in different representations. For that, we have filters. So today in this tutorial, when we are creating line chart, we have to follow some things. So I'm going to explain those filters for you guys. So first and foremost thing is the representation, guys. The color and the representation. Like for example, if you see here, guys, if you didn't see my previous video, just go to the previous video and see the introduction, understand what is Matplotlib and how we can use Matplotlib for our needs and for our projects. I want you to guys go through it and then come back here and follow me so that you guys will be clear about the stuff that you want to know. So first and foremost thing is the representation and color. Like for example, if you give here inside plot, we gave X data to represent X-axis data. We gave Y data to represent Y-axis data, right? So now we are going to give one more thing which is called red, R, and you're going to give this one, and don't forget to give them in quotes so that your interpreter will not scold you for these errors, okay? And if you save and run this one, you're going to see some red line, but you're not going to see any difference. I just changed color, right? What about this one? This is actually the way of representing the graph, the line in the graph. Let me clear you. If you give two lines here, and run it, see, the representation of graph changed, right? So if you want this kind of representation, then you have to use this filter. And if you want red color, you can give red color. If you want blue color, you can give B. Okay, something like that. You can even change colors with the graph. So yeah, I changed it to blue. The default line will be blue. Now you guys know how to change. There are some representations that you guys must follow. Like if you go back to our tutorial and if you see here, we have different representations. Like, yeah, these are the colors that you can follow. B is for blue, G is for green, R is for red. You can use these filters if you want. And the representation, for the representation or the line style of the graph, you can, for this is actually the default one. If you give double, you guys just saw, it looks something like that. And if you give this one, it will just, let me show you. Like if you give this one, and if you rerun, yeah, it looks like this, entire dots, right? Entire dots, something like that. If you want this kind of representation, you can use this way. So yeah, something like that. So we can use these filters to represent the different ways of our graph. And now it's time to see what kind of data we have inside a graph. That means labels. We have to give what's going on here, what data we have, what kind of data we have in x-axis, and what kind of data we have in y-axis. Okay, so how to do that? For that, there is thing called title and label, which will take care of these things. Like this actually handles an attribute called label. These are under the attribute called title. Let me explain you clearly. So if you come here and if you close this one, and if you see here, let's give a label first so that you guys can clearly understand. So just give plot dot x label and just give x-axis values and do the same thing with y as well. This is actually x-axis values and this will be y-axis values. Okay, and if you save and run it, you will see what do we have in x and what do we have in y. Something like that. Like if you want any left title or central title, right title to represent something in the graph, like there are some changes here, maybe there are some changes here or here. To represent them, you can explain them by saying this left title, central title, and right title. For to create those titles, just give dot title and left title, and we'll give font. In order to give font, there is an attribute called font dict, and just give family, which is font family, serif. Don't forget to give them in quotes, serif, and we'll give color, maybe dark blue, as we have seen in that before. Wait, I made a miss. Dark blue, and we'll give some weight to bold. And now we'll give location to left so that it will settle in the left side. And yeah, I have to give this outside. That's it. And if you save and run it, yeah, you see left title, right? Something like that. You can also give size if you want. Like, just give size maybe 16. Yeah, the size actually increased. This is left title, right? If you want to create a center one, you can just copy this, because we are doing the same thing. You're just going to change the color. For me, I'm just going to change the color. So just give center title here, center, and we'll give the location to center. And if you want, you can change the font to monospace. And if you save and run it, you will see the center title. If you want, you can change the color as well to red if you want. Like this. And if you want to create right title, do the same thing. This will be the right one. And here it will be right. You can just change the font to fantasy, and you can also change color if you want. Okay, fantasy is not here. This is actually dark blue, so this must be fantasy. And if you run this one, yeah, something like that. You can give the color black if you want. Instead of dark blue, you can give black. Rerun it and check the color. In this way, you can change, or you can represent the values. So in order to make your line a bit more thicker, like let me change the style of the line, and if you give line width or LW equal to 2, or just give 5 so that it looks, see, the width of the line actually increased, and it's looking so ugly, I know it, but you guys must know. Instead of that, if you give line width also, it will work, I guess. And if you give, for example, 3, and if you run it, yeah, the width actually decreased. So this is how you can increase the width of the graph as well. So yeah, this is all about line chart. I hope you guys understand how exactly we can use the line chart using this Matplotlib. So what we have to do is you just have to use this game changer of this module of Matplotlib, which is pyplot. You just have to give the parameter inside the pyplot, and if you want to give title to that graph, you can give title, and you can give title left, center, right. If you want to represent the labels of those x and y axis values, you can give by doing x label and y label. If you want to represent that graph, then you can just say plt.show. It will show the graph that you want. So in this way, you can play with these filters to make your graph more interesting to the users. So yeah, in the next video, we are going to work with bar chart, which is a bit more interesting. And yeah, if you guys like the video, then hit that cute little like button. If you are this far and if you still didn't subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Just go there and tap the red button so that you guys will never miss any interesting updates from us. So yeah, see you in the next video.